have a clear output. Okay, you can have a clear output. So one of the advantage over here is a stakeholders communication. Okay, so it's not one or two people will be there. So those who are using the system, those who are involved in the system. Okay. The next one is a system analyst. Okay. When we say, we want to gather the requirements. So who will gather the requirements? Who will gather the requirements of the user? Is it the project manager or the tester? Who will gather the requirements of the user? Is it project manager will go and look for the stakeholders and find the requirement? So who? System analyst. Okay, system analyst. Okay, they are the one who will go and look for the stakeholders, find the users, and gather the requirement. Okay, so in here, one of the advantage, okay, one of the benefit, okay, of this architecture design here is the system analyst, okay, can check whether the system can meet the requirement of the stakeholders or not. Okay, so just now we have the benefit. The stakeholders among the stakeholders, they get a benefit. Okay, because they can brainstorm together. It's not only one user, we have many users of the system, right? So they can sit and they can brainstorm together, and then they can gather the requirements. Okay, and the next benefit here is to the system analyst itself. Okay, they can check. Okay, other than that, large scale reuse. Okay, when we talk about the large scale reuse here is the architecture may be reusable or recycled. Okay, reusable or recycle across the system. For example, let's say if you're going to enhance the system A is already exists and people are using, and you're going to enhance the system B. Okay, it's not necessary that you have to come out with all a brand new. Okay, there are some functions, for example, in your assignment also, right? You are creating some modules and some new modules, but there are some existing modules which you are reusing back, isn't it? Okay, you're not 100% developing the model. Okay, there are some minor components or minor sub-modules that you add on. Okay, so that is we call as a reusable. Okay, so when we use this technique, which is the architecture design, okay, when we come up with this blueprint, so we will know, okay, which components or which functions that we can reuse it back in the new system, which is we cannot use it back in the new system, which we have to come up with the new functions. So this is one of the advantage also, okay, of the architectural design. All right, okay, reusable architecture. Okay, so this is the advantages I've already explained. You can read this. Okay, the next one is negotiation. Okay, negotiation is between the stakeholders. Because, for example, I'm the lecturer. Okay, I have my own perspective about or I have my own requirements. Okay, expectations about the system. Okay, I am I'm an IT lecturer. Okay, and there's another lecturer, business lecturer. Okay, IT lecturer, business lecturer. Okay, but we are all in the same domain, but in a different faculty. Okay, so when I want the system to be, of course, in my point of view, I want everything to be IT based, right? Okay, because I'm IT lecturer, so I want these are the things which the business lecturer, they are not using it or they are not familiar with. So in this case, we can have the negotiation. So I can give my justification to them, to the business lecturer. Okay, I want this function to be added in this system. Okay, so we can negotiate. Okay, so in here the negotiation will be taken place. Okay, so which we can add, which we can drop, okay, all that. Okay, so this is also one of the advantage. Okay, you can see there's a lot of advantages, okay, with the architectural design process. Okay. Next is a complexity management. Okay, this is an essential. Okay, it can be act as an essential tools. Okay, for the complexity, very complicated. For example, like in a software process model, we have the spiral model, right? Spiral model. All that is we use it for the complex projects. Okay, for your assignment, I think you won't face this problem because your assignment is not very complexity assignments all that. It's very easy, but anyhow people are suffering. I don't know why. Okay. Okay, just imagine if you have you're working very high risk project. I don't know. Okay, this is very simple. Okay, so this one is, let's say it involves. Okay, this is very useful. Let's say if your project is a high risk project. Okay, so high risk project, this architecture design is very useful. Okay, so this is others. Okay, so far we can see we have 5 advantages. Okay, so which I've already explained. Next is the architecture design activity. So what are the activities involved in the architecture design? Just now we talk about the benefit or that, right? Okay, now what are the activities? Okay, so the first activity is a system organization or structuring. Okay. Okay, so when we talk about the system organization and structuring, okay, yeah. So this is the definitions of the system organization. Okay, so system organizations basically is a structure into a number of principal subsystems. Okay, so subsystem is an independent software unit. Okay, so this is where the communication between the subsystem will be identified. Okay, so in here when we talk about the system organization and structuring, basically we have 3. Okay, so we have 3 ways. Okay, 3 widely used system organization and modeling. So the first one is a repository, second one is a client server model, and the third one is a layer model. Okay, but the most famous, okay, the most famous is a repository and client. Okay, layer is very rare people using it. Okay, but anyhow we're going to discuss. Okay, so when we talk about the repository, when you look at this diagram, what you can understand, this image.
Center.
It look like what topology?
Central.
Star topology. Does it look like a star topology? Yes or no? Yes or no? Or it look like a ring topology? Or bus topology? Star topology. So what is the characteristic of star topology?
Centralized.
Centralized data. That means we can share, right?
Yes.
So among these nodes, okay, we have a few nodes over here. So it can share the data among the nodes. Okay. So this is called as a repository model. Okay. That means you have the central database. Okay, the example that I can give you. Okay, now, our Thai UMT, we have a few branches, right? We have Fincal, Para, all that. Okay, and we do, okay, even though each campus, we have the what we call server room, server. Okay, each campus they have a server. Okay, but to connect all the 6 branches, we have a main server. Okay, let's say if for example suddenly the KL branch server is doesn't work. Okay, but the staff in KL branch, they still can retrieve the data from the main server. Okay, so in here the main server, okay, you can see the black circle right in the center. That is a main server, we can say as a central database, and all the round here is called as a nodes. Here it could be your PC, it could be your tab, it could be anything. Okay, so which we can share the data among, sharing the data, exchange the data. Okay, so this is called as a repository model. Okay, so if your system, when you're developing your system, if your system is okay, how you going to structure, how you going to structure, okay, how you going to design the system. This all is the internal. Okay, what are the internal process? Okay, what are the internal things that the system can do? Okay, how you going to organize? How are you going to share the data? How are you going to exchange the data? Okay, how are you going to use the data? Okay, so when can you use? Okay, if you are decided to use the repository model, so you can simply use. Okay, there is some things that you need to consider. Okay, the first thing here is that you have a large amount of data to be shared or to be exchanged. Okay, is that your company, you have a very big branches or many branches, or you only have one company? If one company, if you want to use the repository model, is not advisable. It's not advised because you only have one office and you only have a set of numbers of staff. And why you want to use the repository model? Okay, so the repository model, you can use something like a bank. Repository is something like a bank. Okay, you can store the data inside, so whenever you want, then you can get it back. So if you want to use the repository, make sure that you have a large amount of data, okay, which you can store, so whenever you want, you can retrieve it back, or you can exchange among others. Okay, okay, you can see here, repository subsystem need to exchange data. All right, okay, so it can be done in two ways. One is all the shared data is held in a central database, which I say just now, the main server. Okay, or each subsystem can maintain their own database, and then they can interchange the data by passing the message. So there's a two method they can use. Either you store the data in the main, or you can store the data in your own. Okay, then whenever your neighbor asks, then you can exchange. Or you can store in the main, then you can directly get from there. Also can two ways you can use the repository model. Okay, okay, remember when to use the repository model? If you have a large amount of data to be shared, okay, then you can think of using the repository model. Okay, okay, so the advantages all you can study. Okay, so normally we use it for the large amount centralized sharing. Okay, there's a disadvantages here is if the subsystem must agree for the repository data model. Okay, there's no compromise here, and the data evaluations is difficult and expensive. Okay, no scope specific management, and it is difficult to distribute efficiently. Okay, you can expect very fast. It depends on the number of people you're using it. Okay, So there is some disadvantages also. Okay. Next, client server. Okay, what is client server? Client server model. Client server model, or we can call it as a standalone model. What is standalone?
Single.
Example?
Incremental model.
Ah? What is client server model or standalone? It doesn't depend to anyone. Doesn't depend. Okay. So for example, I have a PC. I have a printer. Okay. Then I type something. Then I print out. Okay. That means. Okay. Which means that when I type something in my PC, when I print that, I'm not depend to anything. I'm not depend to any centralized database. I'm not depend to anything. Okay, whatever that I type in my PC, I just print out. Okay, stand alone. Client server model. Client server model. Okay, I do the task, I take it. Okay, I'm not going to share, I'm not going to retrieve from anyone. No. No. I'm not depend to anything. Okay, so that is standalone or client server model. Okay, understood? Okay, you can see a set of standalone server. Okay, which provide a specific services like you can, as I told you just now, you can print the documents, you can manage the data. Okay, you type the file, you save it in your PC. You no need to share to anybody. Okay, whenever you want, you go to the folder, then you can open the folder, then you can modify. Understand? What is so funny? Your
Understand.
ringtone.
Yes,
Okay,
sorry.
so that is the client server. Okay. Okay, this is how. Okay, this one you guys remember, okay, the what we call the for the for especially for the client server. Okay, for the client server model. Okay, so this is the architecture. Okay, this is the how the architecture look like. Okay, you can see the wide bandwidth network. Okay, then you have the client 1, client 2, client 3, client 4. Client is your PC or yourself. Okay, and then each client they have their own works. Okay, to do. Okay, which is you're not depend to any others. Okay, you do your work. Okay, you store it, then you can take it back. That's it. Okay, so this is the client server model. Okay. So the advantages here is the distribution is straightforward. Okay, as I told you, straightforward. Okay, it's not going to come from anywhere. Okay, it's not going to come out from anywhere. Okay, because you save your documents in your PC, you're going to take from the PC. You're not going to take from anybody or from anywhere. Okay, straightforward. Okay. Next is a cheaper because this one you can set in a LAN local area network. Okay. It's not very costly also. Okay, and then it's easy to add and upgrade the server. Okay. The disadvantages is inefficiency of data sharing because you cannot share any data. Okay, that is one of the disadvantages. And redundant management. Okay, redundant management because many people will do that. Okay, and no central register. Okay, like the repository, we have a central management, but in here we don't have. Okay, so that is the disadvantages. Okay. Okay, the next one is a layer model. Okay, just now it's a repository, client, now it's layer model. Okay, layer model, why is layer model? Because as you can see here, I show you. Okay, so this is how it look, but this layer model is not fixed. It depends on what type of system that you're going to develop. For example, this system is called the version management system. In a version management system, so these are the layers. Okay, let's say in your LMS you have a different layers. Okay, I give you one example of one function, okay, which is Gmail, your email. Okay, your email. Okay, so when you want to create an email function, so what are the layers? What are the layers involved? Okay, this layers, I keep telling you, this layer is not a fix. It's not a fixed layer. It depends on what type of system or what type of functions or what type of module that you're going to develop. Okay, different system, different module, different sub-modules all have different layers. Okay, so in here I give you one example of the email as I told you. You can copy down. Okay, so this is the Gmail, whatever. Okay, so how many layers and what are the layers? We have 5 layers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. Okay, so the first one is the UI layers, user interface layers. Okay, which it can display the screen, right? Okay, throughout the screen. Okay, in the screen, so we can have the all the functions. Okay, we can see all the menus. Okay, all those stuff. So the UI layer, and then the next one is a functional layer. Okay, functional layer. Okay, functional layer, it will describe how the system works. Okay, next is the business rule layers. Okay, this is about the business rules. Okay, for example, we have the, remember that we study about the external organization policies, all that. Okay, next is the application core layer. Okay, which is the main programs. Okay, the main programs or modules or the other sub-programs, sub-programs or sub-modules communications. Okay, how we communicate. Next is the database layer. Okay, so database layer, normally we have the tables. Okay, we do have the index. Okay, we have the class, right? Okay, we have a class, all that. Okay, so this is the database. Okay, so when you see the layers in the slide and the layer which I draw, two different layers. It's not same. It depends on what type of system. What type of system, what type of module that you are going to work. It's not fixed. It's not fixed. Okay? Understood? Okay? So in here you can see for the version management system, they have a configuration, they have object, they have data, but database layers, probably all the system they have. Okay, database layers, probably all the system they have. That there will be one of the layers called database layer for all the systems. That, as you can see. Okay, but others totally will be different. Okay, others will be different, but the database normally will be in all the systems, because no system can operate without that, right? Because you have to create all the database, all the stuff. Okay, so the database is first, but others will be different. Okay? Okay, so that is about the system organization. Okay, so system organization, basically we have a system organization, which is a repository, client and layer. Okay, but the repository and the client is mostly used. Mostly used. Okay, so in your assignment, you can think. I think in your assignment part 1, right? Okay, part 1 when mistaken. So you have to choose the suitable system organization model. Okay. Okay, the next one is a modular decomposition. Okay, modular decomposition is a process of decomposing the subsystem into the modules. Remember in your assignment, you have to come out. Okay, most of you have already come out with the sub modules, right? Okay, your main module and the main module you have sub modules. Okay, so this is what we call as a decomposition. Okay, modular decomposition. Okay, so as you can see here, it's a decomposite of the subsystem into modules. Okay, it's a components in modules. Okay, so when we talk about the modular decomposition, okay, we have two main strategies. Okay, two main strategies that you can decompose the subsystem. So what are the two strategies? One is the object-oriented decomposition, and the other one is a function-oriented decomposition. Okay, so when we talk about the object-oriented decomposition is when you can see this. Okay, you have the class, object class. Okay, for example, this one is for the invoice processing system. Okay, for the invoice processing system, so what are the class? How many class? How many class we have here? 4. Client, payment, invoice, receipt. Okay, so this is what we call as the object-oriented decomposition. Okay, understand? Okay, the next one is a function-oriented decomposition. The same invoice processing system. In here you can see each sub-function. Okay, invoice processing system. Okay, here we have an invoice, we have payment, we have reminders, we have receipt. Okay, and each you can see here the connectivity of the each function, the sub modules. Okay, you can see here. If you want to make the payment, okay, after you make the payment, okay, identify the payments, okay, then you have to issue the receipt, okay, then find the payment due, okay, issue the payment reminders. So you can see the connection. Okay, so this is called as function oriented decomposition. So decomposition is basically a sub modules. How the sub modules work together, okay, into the main module. Okay, so as you can see, invoice is a sub module, payment is a sub module, receipt is a sub module, reminder is a sub module. Okay. Okay. So just now we have talked about the system organization. Now talk about the modular decomposition. The next activity in the architectural design process is the control modeling. Okay. So when we talk about the control modeling, okay, I just talk about this. Okay, when we talk about the control modeling, we have two types of control modeling. One is centralized control, and the other one is the event-based control. Okay, what is the difference between centralized control and event-based control? Anyone? Centralized control and event-based control. What is centralized control? As you can see in here,
At the center.
of course, the central I mean central. Can you see one subsystem as overall responsibility? That means it has the overall responsibility to control. Which is control mean here is it will start and it will stop. Okay, other subsystem. Okay, in here you can see is not in the main system is controlling the subsystem. The subsystem is controlling the subsystem. The subsystem is controlling the subsystem. Okay, for example, I can give you. Okay, can I erase this?
Yes.
Okay, example, okay, we have one module, main module, payment module. Okay, payment module. Okay, so in the payment module, okay, we have two subsystems, okay, which is payment option, okay, payment option submodule, and then we have the generate receipt. Okay, generate receipt. Okay, so as you can see in this diagram, okay, we are not going to talk about the payment module. Payment module is the main module. Inside the payment module, we have a two sub-module, which is the payment options, and also we have the generate receipt. Okay, so in here, if you see, if we make the payment only, the receipt will be generated. Right? Is that the receipt will be generated without we making the payment?
No.
Okay, so in here, which module is controlling which module? Which module, which sub-module is controlling which sub-module? Yes, the payment option module is controlling the generate receipt module, right? So in here, let's say you didn't make the payment, okay, you come to that part, okay, so you maybe for example, you buy anything from Lazada, okay, then you choose and you add to cart, and then after that you check out, right? You check out, okay, then when you check out, so you have to make the payment, or either it's online transaction or whatever. But let's say you didn't do that, you didn't perform that, okay, will you get the receipt out or the invoice out? No, you have to make the payment first. If you didn't make the payment, so it will stop automatically there. It will stop automatically there. Then you have to start from the beginning. Okay, understand? Until you didn't make the payment, nothing will come out. Nothing will come out. Okay, it won't generate. Here, which is controlling? The payment option module is controlling the generate receipt module, sub-module. Okay, so in here, centralized control. Okay, so that is one. And the, okay, as you can see here, okay, so this is how it works. Okay, the sequential. Okay, the next one is that, okay, this one all you can talk, you can read as centralized control, what is that? The other one is the event based control. Okay, just now centralized control. The next one is the event based. Event based. Okay, in here, until you make the payment, okay, it won't generate the receipt, but there is no time. There is no time. Okay, there's no certain time. Okay, you need to pay the payment, otherwise no. Okay, so you can make your own sweet time. Okay, then you can take. Okay, nothing. Okay, no need to. It like you no need to. It not like auto log out and you have to log in back. Nothing. Okay, it will stay there. Okay, after you make the payment, then you can do the proceed. You can proceed the next things. Okay, it won't stop you. But event based is not like that. Event based, as you can see, the response to the event from the other system or other environment which is certain time. Okay, in that particular time. The best example I can give you here is our intranet. Okay, when we access, okay, let's say for example, I put my username and password. Okay, then I just leave it like that. Okay, for example, I didn't operate, okay, a few minutes. I think you guys experienced that. Okay, I just leave it like this. Okay, a few seconds, a few minutes. When I want to change the view timetable, after that particular time expire, I cannot do that. So I have to go and log in back. Right? Isn't it? Okay? So this is what we call as a event-based control. Event-based control. Okay? So you can see here, so each subsystem can be respond to the external generated events that might be come from other subsystem or environment. Okay, so this is the difference, okay, between the control based and event based. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, so where we can apply this, we can apply in a real-time system, like for example, it's not the intranet, okay, we have the interrupt handlers, okay, all these things. Okay, that's it, done. Okay, so this is the summary where just now we have talked about the system organization, okay, system architecture, okay, so what is the benefit of the system architecture? And then we have talked about the process. Okay, these are the three process. Okay, these are the three process involved in the system architecture, which is the system organization, modular decomposition, and control modeling. Okay, inside the system organization, we have discussed three types of model: repository, client, and layer. Okay. And the next activity, which is a modular decomposition, we have talked about the object-oriented and function-oriented. And the third activity, which is a control modeling, we have talked about the centralized and event-based.
下次 iPad
Okay? Any questions?
还不手画好，
Any questions, class?
瞬间用尽。
So, in your assignment, okay, in your assignment, part 3, yes. Part 3, you can see an architecture design. Okay, so which you need to recommend and design one suitable, okay, system organization model. Okay, which model that you want to choose is up to you. Either you want to choose a repository or client based or layer. Depends on what type of
你
LMS
点就坏了，
or how it is going to work.
可是我点没有坏，我会死一个。
Let's say if your you choose a maybe, okay, for example, the LMS, right? The LMS that you choose, you're only going to use it in your universities, or is that your universities have many branches,
不要玩，
or is only one campus, or you have many
笔
campus?
头4个99块，笔的壳
So
159
think
块。
about it, and you can decide. Okay, which one that you want to choose? Definitely the layer model you will choose. Okay, so you can think of choosing repository or client. Alright? Okay?
他追啊。
Okay, the next what we call chapter is testing. Okay, next chapter is testing, which is next week, and then the following week will be your midterm. Okay, your midterm is week 9, because I receive a complaint from the top management.
哈
Somebody complained about me.
哈
Impossible.
Yes.
Come on, you can bear.
Somebody complained about me. I don't know who. Okay, so then I have to reschedule.
Why never convert DSL?
Okay, so I have to reschedule the midterm in week 9. Okay, there's no more adjustment. Okay, so week 9, I think by week 9 most of your modules done. Midterm, lab test.
Maybe. No way. We got graphic.
Ah,
Graphic programming. And research method.
I don't know. I already fixed. I already informed to the person in charge. Okay, week 9 will be the midterm. Guys, okay, if you have any problems, okay, come and talk to me now.
那个没有拿
Why you want to complain?
So high.
If let's say if you talk to me but I didn't take any action, I still like that, no changes, then you go and talk. If you didn't tell me, you didn't talk to me, then how do I know? Okay? You come and talk to me personally or whatever. Let's say I'm still like that, no changes. Then you can talk to the management. I'm so sad. Okay, but it's okay, no problem. No problem. Okay? Take it easy. Don't worry, okay? I won't show my temper all. Okay, very cool.
叫you complain.
Okay, any other questions?
用经过一下。
Any questions, class? Okay, your midterm fix week 9.
Chapter
Today,
4.
now is week 7. Okay, week 8, week 9. Okay, any other questions?
所以那人是大众
Okay,
讲我以为他会讲是大众
so no worries, okay. I think that is the thing done. And then please do finish up your assignment until part 1, part 2, because next week we are going to move to part 3 already. Okay, make sure you complete your part 1 and part 2 first. Okay, then we can move on to our part 3. Okay, any other questions?
No question.
Okay, no question, then I'll take the attendance now.